Okay, so when we talk about character, ingredient number one, people have to acknowledge there is such a standard for right and wrong. They don't. We have to. We have to decide, do we believe it? And if you don't, it's okay. We need to work through it and talk about it. Do we actually think there's an objective standard of right versus wrong? In other words, my opinion doesn't matter. I know the difference. There is a standard. All right? Now, once you do, that means you have to now commit to it. Now it sucks. Now it's like, okay, if I'm agreeing such a standard exists, now what has to happen, in spite of what it costs me, I have to be willing to embrace that or commit to it. In leftism or Marxism, they would do the same thing here. They would do the same thing here. They would say we all need to acknowledge for us, according to our value system, there's an objective standard of right versus wrong. They would put it as proletariat versus bourgeoisie, and they would literally say it's wrong for a limited class of people to control all the wealth and subjugate all the peasants to poverty. That's their objective standard. They all have to agree that's true. Then they have to step to the next one that says, are you willing to commit to this, to change it, to overthrow it? And hence you get the education system in our universities, Antifa, Black Lives Matter. You get all these Marxist organizations, not because they're sitting there going, you know, I wonder how evil and sinful I can be. I really want to be the worst person I can. So I'm going to work at it. Nobody does that. They think they're right. You got to understand this. This is an ideology. They believe they're right. You know why they have power over the church most of the time? We say it, we don't believe we're right. We don't believe it to the point of what it cost us. We just won't go there. God, in chapter 6 of Isaiah, comes to Isaiah, and he says this, whom shall I send, and who will go for us? And Isaiah says, well, there's a lot of division in Israel, God, and we don't get along that well. And, some of us, we're having a lot of problems. So you're out of luck. I mean, until we get our act together and we're able to work together and stop being divisive, there's nobody to send. And God goes, yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I'll work on the church and see if I can get everybody to agree. No, she uses the word we. God uses the word you. That's the difference. Who cares about division in the church? We have a whole pastoral staff. We got like 40 people on staff. Their whole job is to try to bring unity, right? If we sit here and think, I wonder how I can get people to organize and to get along better, you're going to just be frustrated. You have to focus on Jesus Christ for you personally as your Lord and Savior and what he wants in your life. And then when you're at work at the water cooler, when you're out playing baseball, when you're in the community, it's like standing up for truth. Don't worry about all this. Does this make sense? We won't do it. We will not do it. It's going to get to the point in our culture, like it's in Canada right now. They're throwing pastors in prison for preaching a sermon the government doesn't like. You have to decide, are you willing to look at Jesus Christ as the love of your life and speak for him, or let him speak through you? It's called courage. It's tough.
And you'll have a captive audience once you're in jail.
So, what does his process of character development look like? Right? I mean, I love the way he makes it really simple. He said, here's the deal. To do what's right and to do what's just means more to me than work. That's the Old Testament verse. The translation for us is, I'm not so interested in you following the sacrifice system and the ritualistic things that you do because you think somehow you're pleasing me. I want you to live in righteousness and justice. That's how I want you to be as a person. It's way more important than, I hate to say it, Serving. I know serving is critical for our church, but who wants somebody of low character who's a coward to serve in church all the time and never be developed to understand Jesus Christ and God's call for their life? Does this make sense? This is tough stuff, guys.